So I said yesterday on my Oregon-Ohio State predictions that this game, the Oregon-Ohio State game, was going to be an overrated game, that Oregon would really fail to survive for more than a quarter or two or maybe somehow three before Ohio State would hang 21 more points on them than they could keep up with. Here, I'm not going to say this is overrated because no team is ranked. College game day ain't coming here. This isn't the game of the week. But I think people are misunderstanding what happens when you lose to an FCS team and travel to a hostile environment. I have people saying that Washington's going to only lose by 7. That Washington majestically will score more points on Michigan than they did on Montana. And that Michigan will fail to score more than 30 points. Guys, listen. Remember when Notre Dame came in 2019, a night game, and they haven't beaten us in a night game at our stadium ever, actually. They came in, it was favored to be a close game. They were ranked higher than us, and we beat them 45-19. And this Michigan team here looks more confident than that team, and Washington is definitely not as good as that Notre Dame team. And this isn't even mentioning stats. We'll get to stats. We'll get to stats in a few seconds here, but I'm laying the groundwork. Also, remember when we lost to App State? Very painful. I don't even want to talk about it. It took us a few games to bounce back and actually beat a good team in Joe Paterno's Penn State team. We got humiliated and smoked by Oregon at home a week later when everyone thought that we were going to come back and be angry. No, anything but. Anything but. And Lloyd Carr, despite his struggles against Ohio State later, was a great coach. Was an amazing coach for Michigan. It was a good thing we had him. He won us a national title. Charles Woodson won the Heisman. Tom Brady off to the NFL. Countless other people off to the NFL in the first round. He was a good coach, and he still struggled after losing to an FCS team. Those games break you. And Michigan, I'm going to go on to just kind of briefly reviewing how each team did against each other. Michigan here smoked Western Michigan. Western Michigan scored, they didn't even score a third of the points we did, yet had over half the total yards that we did. Our defense proved that it can bend, and that's likely due to some errors, but it won't break. And Western Michigan's a MAC school, so I understand why people are skeptical or even mocking my praise, because it's a MAC school. This is not an indication that Michigan's a top 25 team. But Western Michigan, at least from Michigan's defensive side and Western's offensive side, pitting them against each other, that battle was completely won by a good Michigan defense. And I say that because Caleb Ellaby is a great quarterback. He had a 195 passer rating last year. Corey Crooms, also a good wide receiver as well. Like, Western Michigan has some good wide receivers, and not only that, but their leader in rushing yards, Sean Tyler, had an average of 5.5 yards per carry. Their offense led in explosive plays last year, led the nation. Granted, they had a MAC schedule, but remember, they also have MAC talent. This isn't like Michigan or another school. This isn't like Notre Dame or Clemson playing ACC opponents. Western Michigan's pretty equally talented to the rest of the MAC, I would say. Maybe a little more, but it's not a great unbalance here. Michigan did its job. Michigan had 335 rushing yards. I would have liked to see more passing. We only tried passing 17 times, but I hope that the staff will pass more in future games. I expect against like a team maybe like NIU or Rutgers, we will try to. Maybe against this Washington team, we'll try some new strategies since their defense is definitely better than Western's. But I loved that we ran this much too because we almost had 8 yards per rush, and we got to see that Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins are really, really good running backs. Like, amazing running backs. And it sucks that Ronnie Bell's injured and all. But besides that, this is good news for Michigan moving forward. And Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy, dude, they're competitive in a friendly way, which is good from a cultural standpoint. And not only that, but Cade threw some pretty good balls and made some great decisions as well when it came to the passing game. No turnovers, only 2 incomplete passes, 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, that's Michigan's story. And Michigan's going to have an injury coming into this Washington game. But Washington here, entering this Michigan game, and they had problems with this, like, during the Montana game, they have a lot of their wide receivers out. I heard that they had 4 of their top wideouts out. Giles Jackson, who's probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest wide receiver on Washington's roster. Do you know how many yards per catch he had? Do you know? You know what the answer is? 3.8. He had 3.8. And that isn't just his fault. His longest was 7, by the way. Your quarterback in Dylan Morris made some of the worst decision-making that I have seen. And then, granted, I'm watching the highlight reel. I wasn't able to watch the entire game, nor did I record it. But from the highlight reel, your quarterback, I don't understand this. How do you throw 3 interceptions against an FCS team? You miss 19 of your attempted passes. He attempted 46, only completed 27. A lot of them were short passes. I was watching some third and long. Guy throws it to a dude who's 10, 15 yards from the first down marker with Grizzlies surrounding him. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, actually, what are you doing? I don't understand it. And not only that, it probably isn't even his fault either. The offensive line couldn't even assist and block well enough to let their running back run for more than 2.5 yards per rush. Got 65 rushing yards against an FCS school who has a defense far worse than Michigan's. Your offensive line, on average, is 6 foot tall and 6 inches, 6 foot 6 inches tall, and weighs 320 pounds. If people that size can't dominate, you point to the coaching. And immediate, amazing coaching changes don't happen in a week. It takes a few games. You don't have a few games before you play us. You have, I think, 2 practices before you play us. Against a great defense of yours. Your offense will be practicing against a defense that I respect. Your defense did its job. You held an FCS team to 13 points. But your offense is a dead animal at best. And I don't even say that like trying to be mean or disrespectful. It's just the truth. It's the absolute truth. 4 for 14 on third downs. 1 for 3 on fourth. Oh, I forgot. Not even 300 yards of total offense. Western Michigan had more total yards of offense against us than you did against Montana. That is disgusting. If I could puke on command, I would do that for 10 minutes. This is disgusting. This is horrible. Not even 300 yards of offense against an FCS school, while Western put up 300 yards against Michigan's defense, who has new coordinators, who made adjustments, who have far more talent than Montana does, unless Montana is somehow better than Michigan, which I completely doubt that. This is horrendous. I don't even know what to think. And I'm almost kind of rambling here because I don't know what to say. What? Why? Why the 3 turnovers? Why lose in such a low-scoring game to an FCS opponent? Like, is your offense that dead? This is worse than anything I've seen. This is worse than the 2017 offense under Jim Harbaugh, or some of Mark D'Antonio's offenses. This is horrible. This is why John Donovan was fired from Penn State in 2015 after spending 2 years with James Franklin. And you know what happened when he was fired and they brought in Joe Moorhead? They won their conference. And looking at this game, you, not only that, but your quarterback and your OC, who is also the quarterback's coach, by the way, which kind of just is really funny to me. You have the audacity to keep him as the starter into Michigan Stadium. Your dude threw 3 picks in your own stadium, missed 19 throws. I do not expect him to play better in a full, loud, big house at night. That is unrealistic. I could not say that truthfully. I would be lying to you if I said that. Washington not only averaged 5 yards per pass, they only had 2.4 yards per rush. Again, against a Montana defense. A Montana defense who was in no way, shape, or form as good as Michigan's defense. Michigan, oh boy, 7.8 yards per rush against a defense in Western that is at minimum equal and probably better than Montana's again. Wow. Oh boy. 7.8 yards per rush. If I had a Michigan fan next to me, I would be jumping up and down, giving him a high five and saying how we're going to just... Harbaugh's going to pull a Harbaugh, not be the best coach, run it up the middle, infinite amount of times, 8 yards per rush, and man, it'll be like 400 rushing yards. But I'm not going to do that. I don't have a Michigan fan next to me, nor do I think Washington will necessarily allow that. But that's just my thoughts here. And you can call it arrogance. You could call it, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Washington's going to have a big old game plan, blah, blah, blah. But if you had a game plan, if your offense was any good, I don't care if you're overlooking to the Michigan game, how could you lose to an FCS team? 13-7, Montana beating number 20 Washington at home. The media is trying to pump your dead offense full of blood because they don't want to see us beat you 60-7 in a game that they said was going to be one of the best games this year. I don't know what to tell you. And Washington could somehow make it close. Their defense could maybe hold Michigan, and their passing game, they're good at defending the pass. But this offense, come on. I can't sit here and lie to you like that. I can't lie to Washington or Michigan fans saying that Washington will make this a close game. I just don't think it will be. Don't think it will be. Again, Michigan having nearly double the amount of total yards, playing a far better team. My score prediction, gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be like 38-3 or 45-10. It's gonna be something crazy. It's gonna be a blowout. There's gonna need to be some mop-up duty, and that's all I have to say here. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below, and hit that notification bell so you can watch more of my content immediately when it comes out. And if you don't like my prediction, don't like what I was saying, why? Tell me down below why you didn't like it, or if you think I'm underestimating Washington in some capacity. Tell me down below, and I'll have a discussion with you. I love having discussions with people that disagree with me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.